Hello, good evening. Welcome to Paramisius, the story of the Burgher and the Pauper. And let's take a quick synopsis. Where we're holding is that the real bridegroom was not recognized. He goes back to the place of his place of exile. And there's a murderer that a pirate hears that there is this beautiful emperor. He himself has nothing to do with her because he's a eunuch, but he decides that he's going to go and kidnap her, and so he can sell her for ransom to some king or something, Let's take a quick look at the story, and then we can talk a little bit about where this is taking us. So, as we said, he made this, he set a plan in motion. The pirate ignores his own welfare, he succeeds. If not, he doesn't care. Since he was wanton, like all pirates are, and he went and he bought a large amount of merchandise, an extraordinary huge amount. And he made golden birds. They were made with such artisanship that they were actually appeared to be alive. As we said, they're like real birds. They were studying on grain stalks, and it was all, fake. They were just like on invisible wires, and there was a whole orchestra of people behind them. It looks as if it was actually taking place. And it looks as if the birds were playing. They were made up with invisible wires and so forth and so on. And taking all this, the pirate set off to the land of the emperor's daughter. When he came to the city where she was, he docked his ship and cast anchor. He made himself out as an important burgher, and the people came to buy all kinds of precious goods. He remained there for somewhat more than a quarter of a year. In other words, time is of no consequence. While people brought home the beautiful merchandise they had bought from him, the emperor's daughter also wanted to buy from him, and she sent a message asking him to bring his wares to her. He replies with the message he has no need to bring his ware to the buyer's house, even if she is the emperor's daughter. Whoever wants his goods must come to him. And a burgher cannot be compelled to do otherwise. The emperor's daughter decided to go to him. And her custom was, whenever she went out in public, she would place a veil over her face, so the people would not be able to look at her, otherwise they would fall down and faint and become ill because of her beauty. And the emperor's daughter went out with her face veiled, and she took her companions with her. A troop of guards escorted her. She went to the so-called burgher, who was actually the pirate, and bought some of his wares and started to go on her way. If you come back, said the burgher, I will show you even more beautiful articles that are truly wonderful. And with that, she returned home. After that, she came again, and she bought some merchandise and went home again. And the pirate remained there for a while, and she became accustomed to visiting him. And she would come to him often. And one day, she came to the burgher, and in other words, the pirate, and he went and opened a door to a cabin where the golden birds were. She was able to see them. It was an amazing sight. The other people with her also wanted to come into the cabin. He says, no, he said, I don't want to show this to anyone except you because you're the emperor's daughter. I don't want to show others at all. And she went in alone, and he also went into the room, locking the door behind him. Then he did the crude thing. He forced her into a sack, took off all her clothing. Then he dressed one of his sailors with her clothing, veiled his face, and pushed him out and says, "Go." The sailor did not know what was happening to him. As soon as he emerged with his face covered, the soldiers, not realizing who he was, immediately began escorting him. And they thought he was the emperor's daughter. And the sailor ran along with the troops wherever they led him. And he had no idea where he was. So he came to the emperor's daughter room. When his face was uncovered, they realized that he was a sailor. There was a great uproar, and the sailor face was slapped very well and was thrown out. He was not guilty, for he knew nothing. Let's stop our reading here. This is chock full of information and learning. The first thing that we need to pay attention to is that the pirate, which is the son of Haman, has an amazing capacity to acquire an astonishingly large stock of merchandise. If you remember the story that we read on Motzei Shabbos, I think it was not this Shabbos, the one before, about that Rav, the David, with this incredible fire that the seer, the Chayza of Lublin, brought to the Rebbe of Melech, because he was so, amazed by the enthusiasm of his Avodas Hashem. And the Rebbe of Melech told him, everything is from the Sitra Achra. And he himself could not fix him. He had to wait until his brother, Rebbe Zusha, came, and then they could fix him. What that comes to say is that we all know that the Sitra Achra has a boatload of temptations to show people and to tempt people and to lead them and to hypnotize them. But that's not the only thing that it has. The Sitra Achra also has an immense amount of hasagas, ruchnis, Kabbalah, visions. And they look just like the real thing. They're hanging by invisible wires. Baruch Hu made the Bechira that whatever it is on the side of the holiness is a mirror image of that in the side of the defilement. So that was the first thing. This is how Shabtai Tzvi Machshema, he started, dragging people that were, of significant stature by his knowledge of Kabbalah and whatever other inyanim that he had. It's a great fiction that people would like to perpetuate for themselves, that somebody who is a faker uh, is really a loser, and that it's easy to see and to discern, to tell the difference. The answer is that it's not true. It is, there's a famous Pirkei Avos that says, what is the difference between the Talmidim, the students of Avraham Avinu, and the students of Bilam? What they say, the students of Avraham Avinu, the Baishonim, soft-hearted, and so forth and so on. Talmidim of Bilam HaRasha, they're prideful, this and that, whatever. So it's a very famous question about, like, what do you have to go to the students of Avraham Avinu and the students of Bilam? Why don't you just say, what's the difference between Avraham Avinu and Bilam? Go to the source. And a very, very well-known answer to this question is because when you look at Bilam and Avraham Avinu, many times you cannot tell the difference. Those both look, sounds Yerushalayim, big straddle, big beard, whatever. You can tell the difference by the results. The Talmidim of Avraham Avinu have that quality. The Talmidim of Bilam have the real quality of Bilam. And Avraham Avinu and Bilam themselves, you can't tell the difference. What you see here, what Rabbeinu is telling us, is the way that the Soicher comes to take a person and to snatch him and to ensnare him in a sack, which was just like basically, as they say on Tisha B'Av, the heavens have worn sackcloth. Is first of all come with hasagas. That's all the merchandise. And he invites everybody to come. We spoke about that, it can you're buying kosher food. I mean, what's the big deal? You buy, kosher Wagyu beef. Kosher, glatt kosher. And kosher wine that costs who knows how much, and kosher this and kosher that, and it's all kosher. And slowly but surely, he leads the Shekhinah. I mean, we are the Shekhinah, Nishon Neshmas Yisrael are the Shekhinah. He leads us deeper and deeper and tells us, listen, you'll come again, I'll show you some very special things. And, one of the strong principles of marketing is it's called the acronym of FOMO, FOMO. That means fear of missing out. I have this, I have these things to sell. That's the last one. And I promised it already to somebody. I don't know if it's going to come or not, but I already promised it to someone. If he or she doesn't come, then I'll give you a call. then whoever of you comes first is the one who's going to get it. Everybody knows scarcity sells. I have a secret, something I want to show you. Now, the thing is as follows. There is a repeating theme, which we spoke about a few times. She did not come into the room with him when the first time when she saw the birds. She saw the birds from outside the room. She just didn't see it well, but she saw it. The other people, her guards, they also saw, they also wanted to come in. Now, those things were fake. They were obviously fake. And of gold, they're standing on grain stocks that cannot possibly carry their weight. They're singing. So we know that there's trickery involved. But there's a weapon that the Sitra Achra uses against each and every one of us. It's the same secret technique that they use, or rather the human capacity that is used in order to make James Bond movies. It's called suspension of disbelief. You can't make a movie, let alone a whole series of movies that is already like 60 some odd years old and running, about a person. First of all, he's a killer, but he has license to kill. Somehow that makes it okay. He's a license to kill. So obviously we assume that he has license to kill. That means that all the people that he kills have it coming to them, because otherwise who would give him a license to kill, of course. And he goes through the most harrowing experiences and nothing happens to him. He always wins. Now, if we are being realistic, I said, come on, that can't be. I mean, you win some, you lose some, people get killed. But not in the James Bond movies. So why do we keep on, not we, but why do people go and watch them? The answer is people are willing to suspend, to put a pause on the disbelief. So, okay, let's say that it's possible to get a big license to kill, blah, 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 jumping from this and that, planes, airplanes, this, that, blah, 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 blah. All this is possible. Now I can show you a movie. Now I can get you really entertained. She saw the birds from outside the room. She already knew that it's trickery. But it's fascinating. Oh, check it out. What a work of art. This is just amazing. Wow. like a Fabergé egg, with you open it and this small chariot goes round and round, a wind up kind of thing. It's like with diamonds and with this and with that. And it's like, what am I doing? What on earth am I doing? The answer is the same as we saw by the Viceroy when he saw the flowing brook of wine. He suspended his seichel and allowed himself to follow his curiosity, his foolishness. Once he says, no, this I'm not willing to show to anyone, that should have been already, a double alarm. I know him. I trust him. Went here for many times. I came and I went. Trustworthy person, whatever it is, probably gave her, some reduction, a good sale, a good price, maybe an extra something for me, whatever it is, because we are all passing through these kind of temptations all the time. Sometimes more, sometimes less. Truthfully, the only way that we can actually hope to fight that skid, sometimes slow it, sometimes, completely stop it, sometimes just slow it down, is by what Rabbeinu speaks all the time about the viceroy and the simpleton. Reflect. Talk to Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's the one thing that the Samach Mem does not want us to do. Don't stop. Don't reflect. Don't pay attention. Just go on. Just do. Don't think. Do. If you can just set aside time to speak to Kadosh Baruch Hu, even as much as 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the afternoon. How much more so if you can do it more? And even when you set yourself time to speak to Kadosh Baruch Hu, and it's very difficult to go ahead and speak to Kadosh Baruch Hu. You have nothing to say, and your mind is not there, and whatever it is, and you manage to say a word here and a word there, it is marvelous. It is wonderful. There's no other way to beat the hypnosis of this world. The boat represents this world. The merchandise represents all the things in this world. The one who controls everything is the pirate. And the last thing that the pirate is speaking about, that he does, once he traps the princess and strips her of her clothing and puts it on a sailor who doesn't know from his left and right, and he just goes whenever he sees it. He's the daughter of the emperor. That is when people take other people, Elche people, even tzaddikim, and then they make them into a rebbe. And Rabbeinu says in Torah Samech Aleph that these rebbes are not, they're not that shildig, they're not that to blame, they have a taiva to be a rebbe, they have a taiva to be a leader. It's those who make them rebbes that are at fault. He's a rebbe. Doesn't mean he doesn't know what he's doing. What do you mean he doesn't know that he's not the daughter of the king? The answer is, when it comes to being the tzaddik emes, those other rebbes that everybody tells them, you're a tzaddik, the goin a tzaddik, Rash Kebahag, a tzaddik, and the candelabra of the generation, and the tzaddik and the tzaddik and the tzaddik and the tzaddik from day one until they become a rebbe. They believe it. They don't know that there's a difference between them and the tzaddik emes, which is the daughter of the emperor. They don't know. Okay, they go wherever they lead them. It's only at the end when they get to the chamber of the daughter of the king, when the pedal meets the metal, the hammer meets the anvil, then the truth comes to them. No, what are you? Nothing, just a faker. And you didn't even realize that you're a faker because we need to realize that we are close, O Hashem, to the tzaddik emes, that not only we don't have any clue of his real greatness, we have no ability to have any clue of his greatness. Rabbi Yitzchak used to say, the only thing you need to know about the Rebbe is without him, you can't. That's it. Especially as it comes now to Rosh Hashanah. Whatever it is that you can do, whatever it is that you can't do, you have to understand, without him and without the Rebbe's Rosh Hashanah, I can't. I can't. There is no one that can snap the finger in the middle of the hallucination that is taking place in this world, except the tzaddik emes. He's the only one who can give you eitzes how to actually find your way out of it, because we are being sucked in again and again and again, all time. Once this goes, this starts a brand new chapter in our story, obviously. And that's another lesson that we need to understand. You know, when we look back at what we have done throughout our lives, there are a lot of things, I don't know about you, but there are a lot of things to regret. A lot of things that were done, I know, out of ignorance, out of whatever momentary insanity or whatever. And we feel, what can I do with this? What can I do with damage, wreckage that I have caused to other people? What can there be? How can I stand before HaKadosh Baruch Hu with the things that I have done? The answer is A, you don't know, and B, it's not your business. Excuse me, but it's not my business, my life. It's other people's lives. Kadosh Baruch Hu does not make mistakes. You don't know why you were where you were and did what you did and what ultimately came out of it. You have no idea. Kadosh Baruch Hu does, obviously. The Tzaddik Emes does, obviously. You don't. I don't. Just go on and do what it is that you need to do. And don't worry. Rabbeinu says, Simchu al koichi agodol. You can lean on my great strength. No other tzaddik ever said that. Moshe Bar Yochai said, yeah, I can part of the entire generation from the din, from judgments. Rabbeinu said before he passed away, he says, all these neshamas that passed away are waiting for me for hundreds and hundreds of years. They're waiting for me. He says, and what they had to go through in order to wait for me. He says, but you, since I'm going before you, what have you got to worry about? Rely on Rabbeinu's biggest koach, even when reality looks like, that's it, I was captured by the Sitra itself, and there's no way out. You know, there's a folk tale about a tribe somewhere that a beautiful child was born there, and all of the villagers were very happy with that child. And one day, the child found a beautiful horse, gorgeous horse. So all the people of the village were so happy that the beautiful child now had such a beautiful horse. The wise men of the village said, wait. One day, the child fell off the horse and broke his leg. And well, they didn't have really ways of setting it and became like a cripple. And all the people in the village said, they cried and says what a shame it is that this beautiful child, it found this beautiful horse, fell off the horse and broke his leg, and now he limps, he became an invalid. And the wise men said, wait. Then the time came and the king's emissaries came to take the children to the king's army. But that child they didn't take because he was an invalid. So all the people of the village says, what a great thing it is that the child broke his leg. And the wise men said, yes, you're right. So wait. It's not the end of the story. Whatever it is that we have gone through in our lives is not the end. Wait. Baruch Hashem, we're in good hands. Hashem should help us, Bezat Hashem. Should have a ksiv achsimet toiv anegid giben shtio, should all be zeichet to be in Uman one way or another, Bezat Hashem. And in Mitzvah Hashem, we'll meet on Wednesday evening, learning Mitzvah Hashem Likutei Moharan.